Hi there, I'm Leah and I facilitated a lino block printmaking workshop as a part of the Radical Design School. And today we're going to learn a little bit about how to create your own lino block print. My interest in printmaking is informed by the crucial role that creative forms of resistance have taken in grassroots movements over time. And this is because with very simple tools you can create and reproduce prints very inexpensively. Let's take a look at some of the tools that you're going to need to make your own prints. Okay, so in order to make a lino cut, you're going to need a couple things that I have here. One is a piece of lino of some sort. So these two pieces here are softer lino, and they're a lot easier to cut into, and they're a really good medium to start with when you're a beginner because they're easier to work with than this kind of linoleum, which is the more standard kind of thing, but it's a little bit tough to work with at the beginning. You also are going to need some kind of cutting tool, and so here I have a couple of tools, different sized V and U gouges, and generally when you get one of these, it comes with several types of ones that you can play around with, so that's good. You're also going to need some ink, and this is water soluble block printing ink, and you definitely want block printing ink, not acrylic paint or anything like that. The block printing ink has a particular quality that's important for this kind of printing. And then you're also going to need a roller or a brayer, that's this guy here, and just something to roll out your ink on. Right here I just have a scrap piece of cardboard. The nicest thing to use for rolling out your ink is a piece of plexiglass or glass. And all of these tools are available at art supply stores and are relatively inexpensive. Okay, so let's look at a couple different techniques for carving into a piece of linoleum. I have just two simple tools with me, one larger gouge and one finer one. And you want to make sure all the time that how you're holding your block is behind where you're cutting so you don't cut yourself. And you're going to want to just kind of experiment with the ways that you can take material out of the block. So this, as you can see, makes sort of wider, larger pieces and is good for clearing out large areas. And then something like this, you can get really fine line work and also build up texture by creating a lot of little marks. I have a couple of examples here of prints of blocks that I've done. Some have more larger graphic areas, so you can see in here there's just like big fields of color, and then I have another one here where there's a lot more detail work done with a finer tool to build up different kind of textures. And I have a couple other ones here. So with lino cut, it's a relief form of printmaking, and this means that the raised or uncarved areas are the part that represents the image. So they're the parts that will turn out when you print. When you make a lino cut, when you're printing it, it's going to be a mirror image or the reversal of what you see on the block. So just make sure that you take that into account when you're making your design, because if you have anything that you want to point a certain way, or if you have any text in the design, it's going to come out mirrored, and so you want to make the block itself the mirror image of what you want to print. So let's roll out some ink so that we can put some ink on this block and then print it. I'll show you some of the technique with rolling out this block printing ink. Whatever you're rolling it out on, just roll out a little bit. You don't want to use too much at first, especially if you're not printing a whole lot. Then take your brayer or roller, and you want to continue to lift the brayer so that you're moving the ink around a lot, and you can move it in a lot of different ways in order to make sure that the ink is evenly distributed across the brayer. So you can see here that there's still some spots where it needs to be inked. When you hear that sort of noise, that's when the ink is ready to be rolled out. And then you want to just make sure the same thing, that you're lifting the brayer up as you roll the ink across the block, and this makes sure that it's more evenly distributed. And then take your piece of paper, place it on top, and you can actually just do this, rub onto the image with your hand, or you can also use something like a wooden spoon, and that just helps you apply a little bit more pressure to make sure the ink transfers onto the paper. Okay, and then if you pull your, yep, there's your print. So you can see, like I said, it's the mirror image. And with this, you're able to make, hundreds, if not thousands, of images that you can put up anywhere you like. If you have any questions or want to know a little bit more about printmaking or lino block printing at home, you can get a hold of me. It's leah.gerardo@gmail.com, or you can check out my Tumblr, which is leahgerardo.tumblr.com.